Hello, this is Jeff Tiedemann, the Jet Fan Man. I want to show you this 100% vented aluminum panel soffit here. Just ignore the round white thing, that's the bathroom vent. But I'm talking about the vented soffits. This home is a newer home, and every single panel is vented. That's really the better and right way to do it as far as I'm concerned, because you can't have too much Eave vents. Here I'm getting ready to install a vent into an aluminum soffit. I have the circular saw blade on backwards so it cuts more smoothly. You can see there's an existing panel to the right. Need them for intake so that hot humid air can make its way up to the vents that are higher up, including of course the world famous jet fan attic fan, world's best attic fan. And so this is a good way to do it. So you don't have you're not short-circuiting cross flow to the fan. You're allowing air to get up there. In this particular house, it was needed because there was ice dams. So what was happening is the attic was too warm. It was melting the snow before it should, and icicles and snow was building up in the eaves and creating leaks and huge icicles. So we put in vents to reduce icicles and damming on the roof. When it melts during the day, it causes these water to puddle up and actually leak through back up under the shingles and leak. So here I'm putting in a vent in aluminum soffit, and it is a little bit more difficult in aluminum soffit because you have to cut through the aluminum, of course, and on this particular house there's wood underneath there too, so you have to cut through the wood too. So I've cut through the aluminum with the circular saw, putting the circular saw blade in backwards so that it cuts smoothly. Now I've cut out the wood with the Sawzall and I'm pulling the wood out. In this particular house I was installing these vents for the use with the whole house fan, so the attic was being pressurized by fan blowing or sucking air in through the windows of the house and blowing it up into the attic. I had to allow a way for air to get out of the attic. But Eave vents are always a good idea when the whole house fan is off, or even when the attic fan, rooftop attic fan is off. They're still going to provide intake, especially in the winter time, to get humid air out, a source of dry, cool air to come in from the bottom to replace the hot, humid air that's going out the top of the roof. Sometimes people ask me, is this going to make my house colder? Well, not really. If you want to save heat, the thing to do is to add more insulation. Before you add more insulation, be sure you add ventilation, because now that you've added insulation, think about it. Your attic's going to be colder than it ever was before because you're saving your heat, and that's a good thing. But because it's colder, that raises the relative humidity because it's colder. Relative humidity, of course, is a function of water particles in the air and temperature. So if you lower the temperature, the relative humidity goes up. So because the relative humidity goes up, there's a propensity for moisture to condense on the inside of your attic, including the roof decking, the conduit, the insulation itself, and creating a possibility for there to be mold growth. For those of you that would be interested in installing these vents for yourself, one tip I have for you is to make it easier, is to actually go up and mount the vent first. Just put the vent right over the top of the aluminum before you cut the opening, and then screw the vent to the aluminum so it looks neat and straight, and lays out with the grooves that are in the panels there, the soffit vented, the soffit panels, and then take it right back off after you have 6 holes now in the aluminum where the screws were. You can be assured that those 6 holes will work well when you go back to install the vent when you're done. And that's important because after you've cut the paneling becomes a little bit flimsy, and to push on a screw gun and screw the holes through after the big rectangular hole has been cut, it's a little difficult. So if you have the holes in place already, you can just go back into the holes that were already there, and you can be assured that they're going to lay out nicely. There's not going to be a buckle or irregularity in the shape, because it was it was fitted when the holes were drilled. Everything was straight when the holes were drilled. So it'll come back to being straight after you put the panel in for the last time. You can find out more about attic fans and attic ventilation at atticfans.com, and you can actually buy the world's best attic fan there. It's the Jet Fan Attic Fan, atticfans.com. Thanks for watching.